So we've had a few days of teasing over on Twitter about the brand new Rush Duel box, giving some cards here and there, revealing, we're getting the Oblivion, we're getting the Void Velk stuff, we're getting a brand new, really good trap card, but now we have the full list confirmed, we're getting a structure deck as well. It's all coming out on May 9th, so about 2 days away, less than that given time zones, right? It's going live at 2 AM UK, which is going to be really, really fun. There's some new bundles coming out, and as well, we've now got 7 extra cards in Duel Links Rush Duel rather than 6, which is really, really big. The unfortunate thing is that I feel like the one deck at the moment that kind of could take advantage of that, which was Hero Gaia, has now been nerfed because of the skill changes and the balancing. We've had this new metagame of Worms and Cybursts being legal for like 2 days, with Gaia gone, and then we get this. But overall, it's looking to be a real banger of a release drop. So first of all, what bundles, right, for 2 very good legend cards. Right? First of all is Hammer Shot blowing up a attachment monster with the highest attack on the field, meaning maximums. They're going by big fusions. They're going by it is basically a better version in a way of Troops of Doomed, right? No discard required. That is fantastic. You'll probably now be choosing between Pot of Greed or this in terms of which cards you play, and so that's pretty cool. There's also Compulsory, one of the best legend traps in OC Rush Duel right now. It is still really good, really top tier in those decks, and it does work a bit differently from our current version in Speed Duel, right? It is only when a player summons or when a opponent plays a spell card effect, so you can't play this against trap cards because of chaining, so that's fine, but in general, a really strong card, can be used offensively or defensively, and getting more cards to work on summon is fantastic. You can now Compulsory away an Drago in your turn, of course, because if you do it in their turn, they can just start it right back out, but getting, a bigger body on their field back to the hand or a big fusion material piece could be massive, so a very good card, and probably going to be the new best legend trap in Duel Links by far. But then we've got the brand new box, and overall, again as I said before, it is a little bit of a banger. It's a banger content box. So first of all is the Ultima Witch coming, which is not really that great, right? It's a big body, it's a recycle for a spell card, and that's kind of it, right? Fusion we're getting from the campaign, the Marshal 7's Road, is way better to summon. So I feel like you go for that rather than this, but this is just being a cool option. In your deck is perfectly fine if you want to recur, say, back removal or your legend spell. This is an option which is going to be plenty fine. We've then got a new boss of Void Velk, and this one is really cool, right? It's back removal, it can attack twice, but it does require 2 level 8s to summon, which is kind of annoying, but they're both really good cards to have in your deck anyway, you're going to be playing them, so if you can bring this guy out, then chances are you've probably won the game, right? Getting a proper back row and getting multiple attacks in is going to go crazy, especially with the Darkhold device. If you can pull it off in one turn, that'd be bonkers. We've then got the cover card, Eternal Galactic Oblivion. Gives yourself trap protection from your widespreads, right, which is kind of weird given that now widespread might not see play because we're getting more cards with protection. We got Compulsory, of course, and so it then becomes really big, and that's kind of all it does. It is a game finisher card, and it is probably going to be quite easy to summon, given we've got the brand new skill, but is that going to be enough? We'll have to wait and see. And finally, is probably the best card in the box by far, Execute Riding. Finally, Konami are giving us a very good trap card non-legend. It is limit 3, so you can't play alongside a bunch of cards, right? But I think limit 3 is perfectly fine, so you can't play it in Gaia, right? Or in Void Velk, you're kind of screwed up given this is limit 3, your new card is limit 3 as well. A lot of decks have limit 3, so Dragus does as well. Worms do if you're playing the big maximum build. You can play this though in Spellcasters, so you are fully free to play Riding in Spellcasters. In Galaxy, of course, you've got the Secret Order, which the skill does kind of make irrelevant because you can get it from the skill, so there is a workaround there, but this card is so good, right? It is interaction when your opponent summons a monster. Notably, effect monster only, so you can't use this against the Galactic Oblivion summon, which is kind of annoying, but in general, gonna be fine, right? You summon a body back from your graveyard low attack points, then you can debuff 2 bodies to your opponents for 1800, which is really big because that means that basically any card you summon is going to survive that turn, or means that your opponent has to kind of overextend, use some materials on board to summon another big body, and make a weaker board in theory. So this card is going to warp the metagame by far. It is the best card in the box by far, and looking forward to this one being played in basically every deck that can play it at 3 copies, just straight up. We've then got support for some Luke Dragons, right, being the Dragonic Demolisher, which can pop a card in opponent's field and then summon a Dragonic Slave from your graveyard in defense mode, meaning you then get back removal as well, so you get 2 removals basically for the price of 1. which is not too bad, but it summons defense mode, and so you are kind of leaving a really big, powerful card super weak, right? Just straight up. And also, there's no attack point buff, right? And so this can't really get over big fusions by itself, so you've got to run things like Tasmac Accelerate, that kind of thing, and take advantage of this. Now, we are getting a new skill for Luke, and I don't think it does... Okay, so it does a bit of a debuff, right? But that's about it. That's not going to make up for this card being relatively weak, but I prefer this to like the Dragis OTK deck we've got at the moment, right? Just straight up. So I hope that people can kind of cook and find a build that works, because these cards are really, really cool, and I hope that at least if not now, we get more support and they become a little bit better over time. Then we've got the Strange Cat Witch. Like, this, thank God we got this one. It is the best cat support card I'm aware of, and it brings back your fusion or your Strange Witch from the graveyard, and also a fusion. So you can then go straight into, say, your Ultimate Witch or your Charm Witch if you've got the right materials for this card. We've then got the Draconic Scowl, which works to go with the Demolisher. You play the Scowl, increase the level, add back your Demolisher, you play the skill, you dump the Slayer, you summon this card, you bring back out the Slayer, you get 2 pops, all is good in the hood. You know, it's a simple game plan, and hopefully it can be executed quite often. Then we've got Void Veil Crysail, which is at least the material for this one, right? And it is limit 3, so it is going to clash with the Trap card, of course. It is clashing with your Star Trancer, but this by itself could have been an Ultra card in a previous box, right? It can attack multiple times, and if you hit the mills correctly, you can nuke all level low bodies in your opponent's field, which of course doesn't do much for fusions or maximums, but it's still a really cool effect to have. But you have got to hit 3 darks with the same level, so that's kind of unlikely, but if you're running all level 4 darks, then it won't be too bad to kind of pull off. We've then got the Double Twin Dragon, which is a double tribute for a dragon type monster, so going into a Dragius, right, this would have been really solid, you know, back last year, or even like back in November, right, with the Dragius build going around, and so maybe this, of course, will work into being played with this, right, so don't think it's going to be overly great at the moment. We've then got Apocalypse, so this one is coming as Overrush Rare. Unfortunately, on the side we haven't got it at the moment, but we'll have it at some point, and this can discard a card, right, gains attack, control by card effects, and then, if it was a turn you summon this card, add a Dark Hole from your graveyard to your hand. So the only one in Dorks right now we've got is the Dark Hole device, which is kind of like Dark Hole, but with some restrictions and some benefits, right? So of course, you can only play it if you either have 3 Dark Galaxy in your hand to discard, or there's a Dark Galaxy Fusion on your field, which does mean your Apocalypse does make up for that. Then you nuke the board, then add a Galaxy from your graveyard to your hand. So you can go nuke the board, right? This card is protected, becomes 35. You add back, say, your Void Web Pirate Rider, you summon him out, he's 16, you attack it for 5100 damage. If there's another card in your hand, you win the duel on that turn, if there's no back row in play. So Dark Galaxy, looking to be really, really promising, and it makes sense why Konami have gone down the route of going, you know what, here's limit 2, here's limit 3. Sometimes the balancing doesn't make sense, but this one I think it does make sense. We've then got the Extra Plore, which works to go into your big new fusion, which can pop back row. I think with the skill this becomes like a 1-card investment, so it's really, really solid value if you can pull this out. We've got the Galactiara Eve, which again works to go into your other fusion as well. Dark Prophet, of course, is used to go into your Apocalypse, but also your new Void Veil Protostar, which is also really solid, right? It brings back a 4 Galaxy from graveyard, and then if there's a Dark Hole in your graveyard, you bring back out level 8 monster in your graveyard, just for free. So then go into your Cryosaur, or your Requiem, or your Elysium, if you want to. So this card is actually, like, I feel like this one could have been SR. You know, I really, really do. It's really good for a rare. Really good. So other card-wise, what are we getting? We're getting, like, the Theogonia, which again can bring back our Galaxy from a graveyard, gives it protection for basically 2 turns. But it's hard to summon, right? So you've kind of got your levels, right? You've got, this one is kind of easy to summon, so is this one. This one's a bit more difficult, right, requiring a tribute plus Dark Prophet, and then this one is two tributes, it's hard to summon, and gives you a really big payoff, which I quite like. Of course, getting the Dark Hole device, we're getting the Galaxy, we're getting the Defender, which is fine-ish. We're getting another double tribute right with Spellcast this time, which is a bit weird as to why this one is a SR, this one's going to be a rare. Finally, Wind Spirit's Protection, a cross-duel card. That's where I kind of remember it from. We've got another new trap card for dragons, right? You can bring back out a Dragius or your Demolisher on your opponent's turn, which would have been really cool to have, you know, again, you know, months ago, right, as some interaction, when we were kind of clamoring for trap cards. I think, like, doing these archetypal trap cards, or these type-based trap cards, is a really cool thing they can do to encourage playing certain deck types rather than just going, you know what, this deck's good because it summons out big shit that can attack you directly and deal piercing damage and attack 2 times and pop every card on the field. I like that more. This box is definitely Unga Bunga Big Boss Speed Down in a way, right? And so it is going to be a really fun time for Rush Duel. Just throw open Duel Links, and of course we're going to be getting Speed Duel stuff happening on the 17th, I believe it is, so look out for skill leaks around the 9th or 10th for Speed Duel, details on that Yuma skill, and hopefully some stuff for a brand new main box, which if last year's anything to go by, should be really, really big. Now, the one other thing is, where is a selection box? Now, last year, we had a selection box for Rush Duel on the same day as Duels came out, right? And we know, again, we've got those artwork changes happening for the 1 maximum, and I believe those weren't added in today's update. So that kind of implies to me that even though this content's coming now and looks really good, there could also be a Rush selection box coming on the 15th. And we just don't know yet. You know, we just don't know. So kind of keep that in the back of your mind when going to this box run, spending your gems, your money, and think, you know, maybe something else will be coming in a week that we don't know about. It's a bit weird they do that, but I can kind of get why at the same time, but I don't know. Hopefully, whatever we get is good, but, you know, not good enough to warrant going into it. I guess that's kind of what we'd hope for a selection box, but we'll see what happens.